Hello, everybody. I think you can hear us now. We're excuse me, coming from Pairodice Games for 3 rounds of Modern. I'm not Alex, and he's also not Alex.
I am Sam.
And I'm Patrick. Hopefully we're going to do a pretty good Alex impression for you tonight.
Starting off with round 1, we've got John on Fairy Moon and Soren on Blue-Black, what I can only assume is Control?
Yeah, so Soren just plays... he likes to play wacky stuff.
Yeah, Soren's kind of been known as being the wild card. He always comes in with a different deck, but it's always something really nice and spicy.
Yeah, and he also usually just has gorgeous altars, which is very, very nice to look at. I don't know if the camera will pick those up or not, but...
Yeah, I've definitely had a couple of matches where I'm just like, God damn, his lands are looking good.
Yeah. I had a match against him. I was playing humans, and he was playing 5-color Nymph Mizzet. This was on stream like 3 weeks ago, I think. And I just had a pile of removal spells. It didn't go well.
5-color, like the Bring to Light versions?
Yeah, it was rough. It was a sweet deck, though. I would have loved to play that.
I've been seeing good results from it in like MTG Goldfish top 8, so I'm like, let's give this deck a shot,
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't want to pay for the mana base.
Yeah, it's $1 million.
Okay, it looks like I got a reroll and second high roll.
I don't know who won this roll. Looks like John is ready to go. Soren's just taking a moment here to get situated.
Life tolls and all that good stuff already ran down.
Yeah. Okay, so John is going to be on the play here. John's deck has been kind of interesting. He's playing like the blue-red Blood Moon, obviously, deck, and he's got we've seen him before on stream a few times. He's got like the fairy package, but notably I don't think he has the Kiki-Jiki like combo, which normally you kind of see in these blue-red decks. Oh, it seems he might actually have. He does have the Kiki-Jiki combo, actually. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. And Soren's hand, I did see a Force of Negation and a Karn the Great Creator.
Okay.
So when we get the sideboards overlay, we'll see like what kind of packages he's bringing in.
I did hear Soren. I got a glance at his sideboard as he was picking out some cards before the event, and I saw like some damping spheres and some liquid metal coatings. So probably some of the standard stuff, but it's Soren, so there's probably some flavor in there as well.
Mm-hmm. And with both of these players being on relatively prison-esque archetypes, I foresee these games going pretty long.
Now, is that a Fairy Miscreant? Fairy Seer, excuse me.
Is that a reprint, or was that new for Horizons?
I think it was new in Modern Horizons.
Okay. So we've got top-bottom off the Seer.
Maybe?
Yes.
Okay,
bottom. He got there.
And I saw some pretty good cards in Soren's hand. We've got a Cryptic Command, a Fatal Push.
I'm pretty sure I saw Force Negation as he was flicking through his opener.
I think I see an Opt in there. There's a Karn.
Starting off on Sunken Pools, tapped.
Now, who do you think, at least out of the gates here, who do you think is going to be favored?
With Soren being on only a 2-colored deck and playing a relatively conservative mana base of what I'm assuming is just 8 dual sources and the rest maybe basics, I think that the Fairy Moon deck's plan of trying to Blood Moon people out of the game is not going to go that well. While with Soren, I feel like liquid metal coating, and Karn is going to be well enough to lock down the game. But
yeah.
With both players playing, I'm assuming is a fair number of counterspells and Force Negations, just in the fact of itself it being free. I think this is probably Soren's game, but I would not be surprised to be wrong.
I think that's where I'm at as well, just because, Soren can just he can sit back and he can let John has to be the one that makes the move. Mm-hmm. And Soren can just sit back and he can, he's got cryptic commands, he's got removal spells. He can just take his time and eventually he'll lock up the game with probably a Karn Mycosynth Lattice or something. But
mm-hmm. So you see just some relatively minor beats from that Fairy Seer in both and just keeping mana open from John. And we have a pass back from Soren and possibly an end step action from John.
Probably a Pestermite or something. It is a Pestermite.
Okay.
So we might see him like tap down one of Soren's lands, maybe, or it might like untap and use the mana to opt or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw an opt in John's hand, so I would not doubt that. But we do have some response from Soren here.
He might be choosing to deploy the Archmage's Charm. I think I saw him draw. That could be his plan, although he might not want... This is presumably in Soren's end step, and I don't think he wants to tap out here. Looks like it's going to be a snap opt here.
Just fair. Just remove any sort of John's plans to possibly choke Soren on mana for a turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so he probably just target one of his own lands and then just skip past that. Okay, we have a Blast Zone coming in for John's side. We'll see how this pans out. I'm not sure if Soren will have targets for this card. Ooh, it looks like Soren picked up a Drown in the Loch off of the opt.
That card is very, very good. I'm a big fan of that card.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
And with both players playing blue decks with cantrips, I see that card being great in almost every situation. Because even when he tries to go for Kiki, I assume he's going to have at least 5 cards in the bin.
Yeah, definitely.
4th land from Soren, and a trade with the Snapcaster Mage.
And notably, that 4th land does mean he can keep up Cryptic Man, or he can keep up, like, Archmage's Charm Fatal Push. He's got a lot of options now. Mm-hmm. And it definitely seems like Soren is just kind of in the driver's seat. I mean, he does have to deal with the Pestermite eventually, but he's at 15. It's pretty high life total. He's got time.
Mm-hmm. We've got Serum Vision coming from John. We'll see his results. That looked like 2 lands to the bottom. I think that was Floodstrand Island to the bottom. Brazen Borrow for the draw, though, definitely changes a few things. But can he... No, because...
He used his blue source. But
yeah, but Petty Theft, the adventure side of Brazen Borrower, still live.
And what is that? It bounces a non-land permanent to its owner's hand, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We've got Dismember coming in from Soren. Still holding a push if this gets countered. We'll see. John is eyeing up... Ooh, a Remand. Can still be recast, but...
It's going to cost him another 4 life.
Another 2. He paid 2. He paid a black for it.
Oh, I see. So I think he's just going to do it again?
Yes. Maybe. Oh, he opts for Drown in the Loch on it.
Okay.
I like that line a little better. Because having Dismember still gives him an ability to kill Kiki Jiki if it comes up.
Yeah, or like a Thing in the Ice or something. That's probably not in John's deck, but you never really know.
So we've got a read of Karn the Great Creator here. Stack ability of activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control cannot be activated. With a -2 of being able to wish for an artifact in your sideboard. And a +1 of until your next turn up to one target non-creature artifact becomes an artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of Mox Opals to Karn pluses.
Yeah, that sounds like rough beats, but it looks like we do have the wish mode activated, and he's eyeing a liquid metal coating.
Yeah, liquid metal coating is just going to... Oh no, what is it? A Wurmcoil Engine?
That is a Wurmcoil Engine.
Okay. John has definitely got to be feeling... He's got to be feeling pretty frightened at the moment. Mm-hmm. I mean, Soren notably does not have... He's only 1 mana off casting it, but when he does, it's going to be pretty big game. And
we see a Bolt take down the Karn. I don't know if John's going to have a way to answer a Wurmcoil Engine if it resolves. I do see a Kiki Jiki, a Fiery Islet, and...
Oh, he just Kiki Jiki's the Wurmcoil Engine and makes his own Wurmcoil Engine.
Oh, that's...
You can target any creature, right? It doesn't have to be yours with Kiki Jiki?
I don't know. I wonder if we could get an Oracle test for Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker up on the screen to double check that. But we see Tapland Pass, Creeping Tar Pit.
It's only you control. Okay, so that doesn't... Yeah, that would have been sweet.
Yeah.
You just make your Wurmcoil Engine every turn.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Although I will tell you one way that he beats Wurmcoil Engine. He just Kiki Jiki Pester mites him out. Like,
yeah.
Hey, just Splinter Twin will get the job done, as it turns out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
I think maybe...
Quick show of the hand to our production. So we've got Brazen Borrower, Kiki Jiki. But he does not have the third red source.
Yeah, that Blast Zone is definitely... looks like he's going to be taking that up. But notably, the Blast Zone keeping him off of the triple red for the Kiki Jiki.
And he draws a red off the top.
Well, just keep it right there where you need it, right on top.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if I like just running the Kiki Jiki out here. Just a 5-mana Goblin Guide is not really what you want to be doing.
Is this an upkeep end step? He chose...
Just cycle? Or what? Does Archmage's Charm draw 2 or just 1?
I think it was just 1. Or it might be a looting effect. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, it's a divination. Okay.
Instant speed divination. Seems good. Okay, so... those will land off the top for Soren. I still see a Force of Negation in his hand. Still see Cryptic. I think Soren's pretty much got this. I mean, he has... I'm assuming it's 6 cards in his hand. He's got plenty of mana. And he can just keep saying land go until the cows come home. And then eventually just be able to lock out the game with Creeping Tar Pit attacks.
Yeah. He doesn't even really need to play the Wurmcoil Engine in his hand. I mean, eventually he could just get to like 10 mana and play Wurmcoil and keep up Cryptic or something. But as long as both players just play land go, it's going to favor him heavily.
Yeah, and we see John with an end step, Brazen Borrower, just try and put on a little bit more pressure. But I don't think it's going to be long for this world. I
think now Soren just gets to decide which removal spell he wants to point at it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't actually know what's in his hand. I think he's just got the push at the moment. Maybe that's down in the loch?
He still has the Dismember.
Oh, right.
Because
got remanded.
that got remanded. And so here we see a redeploy of it. Paying 2 life for it. So paying blue-black for it. Does he have a response? It looks like he has a... Oh, what was that fairy? It's from... Oh.
The Counterspell Fairy? Or
yes.
The, what is that? I know what that card is called.
Yeah, I've lost to that card a couple times. Granted, that was like 4 years ago, but...
Spell Stutter Sprite.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the card. I knew it was Spell something, but... Notably, it's not Spell Stutter 7-Up.
All right. Oh, we have Thing in the Ice coming down for Soren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the perfect threat in this game state. Just let Soren just keep doing what he wants to do and puts John under a clock. Be it a very slow clock, but in 4 turns. But we'll see how he wants to play this.
It's looking like John is not going to be... Not quite sure he's thinking.
He's thinking of whether or not he wants to play a Spellstar Sprite or
just run it out.
Okay, so he does still have push in hand. Soren does, sorry.
Right.
Another draw, another Spire Bluff Canal, it looks like.
Yeah, or Sulphur Falls, maybe one of the two.
Yes, that is Spire Bluff Canals. And an attack from Fairy Spellstar Sprite will be met with a Veil Push. Another Spellstar
Sprite, your push.
And now he decides to deploy the Cryptic, probably counter draw.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
And that's going to take 2 of the counters off the Thing in the Ice, so it's only going to have to take down 2 more times, and then it's going to start getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looks like counter draw on the Cryptic. And did he pick up a second Force of Negation? Is that what that was? Or is that the one he had in his hand originally?
I think that's the one he had.
Okay. Oh, it looks like he drew a Snapcaster Mage, I think.
Okay, Snapcaster is going to more than likely seal up this game for Soren.
This is going to be Wurmcoil Engine. I don't know if I like the Wurmcoil Engine here, just because when you inevitably cast the 2 more spells, it's going to get bounced by the thing in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of just spent 6 mana to...
Time walk yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, maybe he doesn't care about any of the rest of the things John plays for the game, and he's just going to kill him with the Wurmcoil Engine. But he's probably going to... I mean, he's definitely going to get in at least 1 attack.
Yeah,
at
least one attack, and that turns it into 1, 7... Is that 13? It turns the flip thing in the ice into a 2-turn clock if he does manage to get a attack with the Wurmcoil in.
He could then replay the Wurmcoil Engine and have lethal just on board. So maybe that's what Soren's thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
But can be getting in there. And this is just going to be a flash-in Spellstutter Sprite to block. I think it's probably just going to get... Yeah, it's just going to get cryptic. Cryptic. Excuse me.
And bouncing back Mystical Sanctuary to hand.
Oh, is that what... I thought it was just an island.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's just going to be...
Yeah, that... He's got him in Cryptic Command looped. Yep, Cryptic goes back to the top of the library. Last zone to take care of the thing in the ice. Now... He is 1 mana shy of possibly winning that game from just ripping Pestermite off the top.
Oh, because he still has the Kiki Jiki, right?
Yeah, he still has the Kiki Jiki in hand. But with Snapcaster coming into flashback, there goes the end of the game.
Yeah. Now, let's look at the sideboards here. Looks like that was... Soren took that down. What do you like... Oh. What do you like out of the sideboard for John here?
Out of John's sideboard, I don't like the Blood Moons. I think Relic is probably good just to try and shut down Snapcaster Mage a little bit, and then also just keep momentum in your card draw. I think that's fine. I don't like the Abrades that much. I know we saw Wurmcoil Engine do a little bit of work, but I would assume that those are coming out.
If you're...
Okay, never mind. We saw Karn that game, so I definitely think the Abrades are coming in.
Yeah, I think if you're abrading a Wurmcoil Engine, that's not...
You've probably already lost that game.
Yeah. I actually also don't hate the Ceremonious Rejection, just because all of Soren's artifacts... I mean, he doesn't obviously have a ton, but some of the cards in John's deck are probably just not... You don't really want a deck full of Lightning Bolts in the Control Mirror.
Mm-hmm. So in this matchup, I think we're going to probably see Relics, Ceremonious Rejections, and Abrades come in. There's an argument for Cage, but I think if you already have Relic, I think Cages aren't doing enough.
Yeah, they kind of both do the same thing, but Relic, when it's bad, just draws you a card.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Cage just sits there, so, yeah, I definitely like the Relic better.
Mm-hmm. And as Soren's list, being a Wish sideboard with Karn the Great Creator, I don't see a whole lot coming in other than possibly... the big ones that come up are Plague Engineer, Damping Sphere, and Ashiok, and Plague Engineer's an automatic in.
Yeah, Plague Engineer naming Fairy just locks it up. You can't Kiki combo.
Can't Spellstutter Sprite. Can't Vendilion Click. Well, you still get the ETB off of Vendilion Click, but it doesn't stick around. Yeah, so I see Plague Engineers come in. There's no need for Damping Sphere. Murderous Rider, I don't think. There's no one big thing that Fairy Moon is probably going to be bringing in. Or that we saw last game.
I don't hate the Mystical Disputes, and I'm kind of into the Unmoored Ego, just if Soren can just Unmoored Ego, like Kiki Jiki or Pestermite, and you can just deal with that whole ordeal in one card, then the game just becomes significantly easier for you.
Alright, so I don't think Ashiok Dream Render is really necessary in this matchup at all from Soren's side. So I think it's probably 1 Unmoored Ego, 2 Plague Engineer, and then a Mystical Dispute. Just keep it simple. Soren has his game plan with Karn, so there's not really a whole lot his sideboard does, but in between rounds, but during the game it does a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, so one thing to take note is Soren did not see Kiki Jiki be cast that game, but the presence of Pestermite is almost a big red flag.
And all of the basic mountains. I think Soren probably knows what's going on. He's been around the block a few times. So.
Yeah, basic lands, red blue, half of a combo. Just can't assume that half of the combo is also on the deck. I'm curious to take a look at Soren's list. I'm wondering if this is Sam Black's version. We get I think it was about a month ago he was on the feature of Star City Games about this blue-black control deck with Drown the Loch. Notably, we didn't see any Thought Scours that game though, which I'm wondering if that's supposed to be in the deck. You know, both players taking a look at their first opening sevens. Not seeing any immediate mulligans.
Looks like keep for both.
Okay, production has let us know that this is mostly Soren's own blue. Own brew, pardon me.
Also blue, but also black.
Yeah.
So, both work, but...
Yeah. So, here we have a turn 1 Fairy Seer, and, I'm really hoping Soren has a good curve of wanting to keep open counterspells, because leading on Mystical Sanctuary does not feel great.
Yeah.
Especially when we have a Relic coming down turn 1. Sorry, turn 2. Turn 1, John was able to deploy a Fairy Seer. Gain himself a little bit of information.
There's going to be Fetch, Shock, a Thing in the Ice. So that's actually not a bad start for Soren.
No, it gets around the plan of Relic pretty well. And here we have an Exile of the Polluted Delta.
I think that's another Thing in the Ice in Soren's hand, yeah. I see a Karn. Maybe a Drown in the Loch.
Right.
This is going to be Vendilion Click, target Soren. Yeah, so we've got
Archmage, Charm, Cryptic Command, Karn, another second Thing in the Ice, Snapcaster Mage, and...
I think that's Drown in the Loch is the last card.
No, Drown in the Loch's gold.
But all of Soren's cards are... all of his multicolored cards are altered. Most of Soren's cards are altered, excuse me, but... They're all really sweet. It's got... Oh, excuse me. It's got, like, some, like lily, like little pink flowers floating around in the water. It's super cool.
And we just got confirmation that the last card at the top was an altered Drown the Loch. I'm curious to why that was deployed main phase.
He might just want to get it down there so that Soren, there's no nonsense countering it, maybe, but...
Opt from Soren. Notably, there wasn't any lands in that hand.
Yeah.
So Soren is going to miss his third land.
Fatal Push is going to keep him at least kind of in the game, but...
He's got action forward, but notably, it cannot hit Vendilion Click at this point.
Yeah, and this click is going to be a pretty fast clock. That if he's going to be continuing to stumble on his lands, it's just gonna get him dead.
Yeah. So as it stands right now, John has a 4-turn clock.
And it looks like he's planning on probably flashing in that Brazen Borrower, which is going to make it even faster.
Well, here we have push targeting Fairy Seer. That will resolve. Damage will happen. Soren falls down to 12.
So is this double Brazen Borrower, Kiki Jiki, Bolt for John, it looks like.
I don't hate that hand. Oh, here we have a Thought Scour.
So I think this is the last counter on the Thing in the Ice. So that is going to kind of mess up John's game plan here.
So I think we have a little dispute on timing for the Thought Scour.
Oh, this is just going to be a bounce your thing in the ice with. Okay, that's actually.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah, Soren invested 2 mana plus all of this time trying to get his thing in the ice to flip, and it's just going to get reset, and he's going to have to play it again.
Mm-hmm. If he can, is that? Oh no, I don't.
I think this is going to be a discard to hand size. It almost looks like. Oh no, he drew the land.
Scalding Tarn. Gorgeously altered one too.
Yeah,
so
very nice.
Yep. So we have a fetch from Soren. Notably not changing the clock if he's just finding a basic here. And a Reeve to play the thing in the ice. And a pass of the turn.
Now, Soren's going to definitely try to claw his way back into the game, but he's pretty behind at the moment. The thing in the ice is gonna have a lot of work to do if it's going to catch him up.
Mm-hmm. Notably, I would like to see the Brazen Borrower on an adventure. I would like to see that closer to John's deck, just for both players' sake, to make sure that nothing's missed. So that Soren doesn't actually accidentally get got by something that was outside the play area.
Yeah, that would not feel good. Looks like he's going to be ringing right now, though.
Okay.
This might be... Soren might choose to cryptic this here, just so that he can save himself some life.
Yeah, he can't be taking 6 on the next turn.
Oh, he's down to 8? Yeah, definitely not. And probably counter draw, or it might be counter bounce your click.
Yeah.
That's not the best because he gets to replay it, but like...
Yeah. But at this point, he's been stumbling on lands for, which means he has all spells.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's like one spell that cripples him, or one spell that could get taken that ruins Soren's plan. I think he just needs spell density at this point to just try and deal with as much as possible. And you're right, we do see a bounce of the click. No, at Soren's end step, we go back to John.
I think it's Steam Vents for the draw, it looks like.
Which is not terrible, because I'm looking to see a Soren's draw step Vendilion click from John's style of play.
He could Brazen Borrower the thing in the ice V-click, but we know he has the second thing in the ice, so that doesn't really do anything, but John had no way to know that.
Okay, so we have Loch, thing in the ice, Snapcaster, Karn, Archmage's Charm.
Looks like it's going to be Karn to the bottom.
I'm not sure if I like that all that much. I think possibly the Drown the Loch was maybe the more valuable target there.
Yeah, definitely. Drown in the Loch plus Snapcaster is...
I mean, the Snapcaster shut down because we still have Relic active on the field.
Oh, you're right.
Passing back to Soren.
Looks like a Fatal Push was the draw, and I think a Polluted Delta in his hand, maybe?
If so, that takes care of John's threats as of right now quite well.
Oh, it's a Sunken Hall, or Fetid Pools, I think is the name of that card. The blue-black cycling land.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm Soren, I'm definitely kind of sweating here. I mean, obviously, we know that John has the Lightning Bolt in his hand, and so that's just plus the Vendilion click. Soren is at effectively 1. Excuse me.
Yeah. And what can happen here is he just decide if he wants to, he can just go for the kill right now of Bolt Soren as an end step, play Kiki Jiki, and swing in. And nobly he has Drown the Loch protection with the Relic because it checks. He can exile his own graveyard, correct?
Yeah, I think it just says target player.
Okay.
Looks like he's gonna just be exiling the graveyard now. I don't actually know if I like this, just because the way.
I mean, getting more information to see if he wants to fire off the bolt right now is not a bad idea.
I think my logic though is I don't want to give Soren the chance to drown in the Loch, Because if you drown in the loch in response,
I think that was Murderous Rider in his hand that he just flipped over.
Ooh.
Notably, cannot cast the Adventure Half because I believe that is a C and a mana cost of black, and 2.
Yeah, black 1.
Black 1. For the Swift End side or for
both?
For both.
And also, Swift End will cost him 2 life. So I don't know if that's really what he wants to be doing at the moment, but
it saves 1.
Yeah, he might need to when he gets the second black mana available.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we have an Archmage's Charm. Mode, I am not sure.
It's probably just going to be Divination again. Looks like we see Pestermite. And is this an untap Kiki Jiki kill you?
No. He was 1 mana short. So.
Oh, we're also in John's end step.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now Soren needs to play careful due to the Kiki Jiki in John's hand. Here we have a deploy of the Murderous Rider. In whether that's the Swift End Adventure Half, I am not sure. Yes.
Looks like it was. I'm all about this. If I'm John, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, but he has the John and the loch to counter. I was gonna say then he goes to 2, and then you just get to bolt him.
Mm-hmm.
But.
All right. So a little bit of a rewind here. We've got 2.
He's gonna Brazen Borrower the thing in the ice, or Petty Theft it, excuse me.
Which does get count, which John will Archmage Charm, but I think that's...
Now John just gets to Lightning Bolt him.
Yes. We have a flip of... Oh, I think they're discussing the counter situation.
Yeah, it appears.
Oh, it...
Unless this was just a hard cast, Murderous Rider, but there's no way.
No, I think it was a Swift End on the Vendilion click. I think they're just discussing timing on the last counter might have been removed on the Swift End, and then there were actions taken after it before they resolved the flip.
Looks like Soren is going to get a flip thing in the ice.
Which bounces back the click and Pestermite.
I don't know. John must just not see the line of Lightning Bolt you. Or maybe he's... No, because Soren's tapped out. And I think we're in Soren's turn.
Yes.
So Force of Negation is turned off.
Mm-hmm. Force of Negation is turned off. He has no untapped lands. He is just at 2. Unless we're missing something.
Oh, it looks like he's not at 2? Looks like he's at 4?
Oh, so the thing in the ice flipping fizzled the
Murderous
Rider.
Just gonna play a 5-mana Goblin Guide. And,
yep.
Okay. Sometimes that'll do it.
Mm-hmm. All right, all tied up 1-1. Good showing from the Fairy Moon deck, but Soren did stumble on his mana a bit. I think that game goes a lot differently if Soren manages to hit 3 and 4 mana on time, because they seem like the most important being able to start holding up Cryptic on turn 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks like both players are not going to their sideboards. It seems like they were pretty happy with their configurations after game 1. We'll see how this plays out in game 3. Soren on the play this time, which that makes a big difference.
I definitely like that. If I'm Soren, I'm feeling pretty good. I think he's probably pretty favored in this matchup just because, like I said before, he can just play Drago and he's just gonna have to make John come to him.
Yeah,
and he's got all the removal. He's got all the answers.
He's got enough traps to catch him in.
Yeah.
Relic of Progenitus that game though, putting in a lot of work of just being able to backdoor a lot of protection for his creatures.
Yeah, definitely. This looks like it's probably gonna be a mulligan for Soren. I can't quite see all of the cards.
I saw 2 lands, Murderous Rider.
Oh, I only saw the one. Looks like it's gonna be a keep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has, Snow-Covered Island in hand.
I only saw the Snow-Covered Island. I didn't see the Polluted Delta, and I was like, what are you doing, Soren? But
okay, so we have shocked Steam Vents coming in here for good old Fairy Seer. It's back again.
Yeah, Fairy Seer actually is probably just one of the unsung heroes of John's deck. Just it's a 1-drop. It can attack early. It's also just smooths out your draws. It's not quite as good as the Serum Visions, I would say, but it definitely, it has its trade-offs. It 100%, it's a clock.
Mm-hmm. And we have double bottom.
Apparently, according to John, Fairy Seer is actually literally the best card in the deck. So I would believe it. Like I said, it's just... It fixes your draws, it attacks, it blocks, it does everything.
So, again, another no-target Mystical Sanctuary played, and I'm worried that this is going to come back to bite Soren because there is a Blood Moon in John's hand. Surprised to still see it in the game, or in his deck after 2 games, but...
Sometimes you just play Blood Moon, and sometimes you just slam a Blood Moon on turn 3 and win the game.
Right, but in his defense, Soren hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Either of the previous 2 games. Back to John's turn 2. Serum Visions.
I think it was a Kiki Jiki was the draw.
Yes. And top. If I'm Soren, I'm sweating that a little bit. And a Relic.
Opt afterwards. I think, we're in John's end step here. So bottom. And Soren's probably just digging for lands here. I think he's got probably a handful of action. He's just got the one Snow-Covered Island.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, he's better off than last game.
Mm-hmm. So he does hit 3rd land. Notably, not 2 black mana.
This is probably a snap opt here.
Mm-hmm. He's going to do it while he can.
And this looks like a Snow-Covered Island. If I'm Soren, I think I just take that. I don't want to get greedy here.
He did bottom it. I think he was looking for 2nd Black Source.
Oh, for his Murderous Rider? That makes a lot of sense, actually.
But unfortunately, he's going to have no black sources.
He did draw... Is that a Scalding Tarn in his right hand there at the front?
Yes, as that altered Scalding Tarn.
Okay, so he could get a Watery Grave.
Mm-hmm. So here we have Shock from John. Let's see.
And bolt your Snapcaster. Attacks. I think if I'm John here, I kind of like just playing the Blood Moon. Maybe not actually, because you don't have yourself any blue mana,
right?
So you're kind of yeah.
So we'll see what Soren wants to do here with his Scalding Tarn. If I'm with perfect information, it's just going to fetch basic island, but he does not have that. Has not seen Blood Moon in any of these 3 games. Is that a Spell Pierce?
I think so. It looks like Spell Pierce.
Right. But we'll probably see fetch for tapped
Watery Grave, almost.
Watery Grave.
For certain.
Yes, because we see another Snow-Covered Island in Soren's hand.
Yeah. What is that card on the right? Is that a Drown in the Loch in Soren's hand? I believe so.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be Drown in the Loch, your fairy. Is this... Oh, Spell Snare Sprite.
Opt-in response. What is he digging for here? Or is he just trying to be mana efficient?
I think that's... He could be digging for like a Fatal Push or something, and then he can fetch push.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Opt has resolved. Drown and Lock is end step.
If I'm Soren, I like John playing the Spell Snare right here.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, if we can get him to tap out on his turn, then we just have free reign, kill all your creatures, do whatever I want, and you can't do anything about it.
Deploy this Karn.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Or this thing in the ice that I just picked up.
Yeah.
It is a Spell Pierce in John's hand, and we'll see if that becomes super relevant. Because at this point, it's kind of both players just kind of jockeying for position. We'll see if Soren wants to push anything and possibly run to this Spell Pierce. Fourth land from John, notably Basic Island.
That does let him cast Pestermite through a Blood Moon. So.
Yes.
That Blood Moon is looking better and better, although Soren does have quite a few basic islands. He doesn't have any basic swamps so far, though. I don't know if he's playing any basic swamps.
Right. So here we have Swift End from Murderous Rider.
I think if I'm John here, I just snap off the Spell Pierce here.
Yeah.
You just get a nice clean 2-for-1. Well, not quite, but you get to kill your removal spell, and you get to basically kill your opponent's Murderous Rider. Mm-hmm. So
negate the built-in advantage of all these new adventure cards.
Yeah. And this is just going to be Karn.
Nobly does have the mana to pay for Spell Pierce. But depending on what he decides to grab from this, and if he wants to deploy it this turn, this may end up very poorly for Soren. So we have a tick down on the Karn, and a search.
He's kind of pulled that liquid metal coating kind of up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing with Karn and liquid metal coating, for those who aren't aware, is you get to turn off one permanent a turn from your opponent, which is not like the best in this board state, but it might just be what Soren needs to kind of to just push himself ahead just far enough that he's able to take over the game.
Actually, it looks like he took a Wurmcoil Engine or Sorcerous Sypglass. I did not get that good of a look at it.
Okay.
Another activation of... It was Wurmcoil Engine that he decided to take. Notably very good if John decides to deploy this Blood Moon.
Oh, definitely. The one... the one kind of downside to Wurmcoil Engine is if John has the Brazen Borrowers still, which I don't think we have seen any in his hand right now. But if Soren taps out for his Wurmcoil Engine, he's just going to get actual time locked by Brazen Borrower, and that does not feel good if you're Soren.
That is a really big feel bad moment. But we also have this thing in the ice that's just kind of been hanging out, and I'm not quite sure on the amount of counters it has. I believe it's down to 2 counters, but I cannot say for sure. But if he manages to flip that, things are probably going to go very well for Soren, because that puts a huge threat on the board that John now has to like redeploy all his threats into just to stay alive.
Yeah, Soren is probably feeling okay. He's got the Wurmcoil Engine, he's got a thing in the ice, and he's not really taking a whole lot of damage at the moment. He's only taking 2 damage a turn as it presently is.
Yeah.
And so he's got lots of time.
Notably, John not drawing Brazen Borrower, or Brazen Borrower, Pestermite, or any Vendilion Clicks. All of his fairies that have more than 1 power. And here we have Soren tapping 3 for.
I don't know what that.
Oh, Soren, with all of your altars making our job harder.
That is a magic card, probably blue and or black, and it has words on it.
Yeah, that's best.
Plague Engineer. This is going to be very good.
Blue streak on the Plague Engineer. Soren, you're a madman, but damn do I love this play. Here I have Relic to possibly...
Maybe draw into a Spell Snare sprite or something.
Nope.
And that's just a nice, clean 2-for-1 and turns off all the rest of John's... Well, not quite all of them, but most of John's creatures for the rest of the game.
I think it's all creatures in his deck except for...
Except Kiki-Jiki?
Yep, except Kiki-Jiki, but
Kiki-Jiki
doesn't do a whole lot without the...
Without his friends, yeah.
Yeah, without the Pastor Might with... 3 Blood Moon. Okay, so now Soren is only on blue mana. Conveniently, he has 4 of them.
Now, both players are playing a really nice blue-red deck.
Yep.
Notably, I don't see any black cards in Soren's hand, so he's just getting in there pretty aggressively with that.
Yeah. I don't... At this point, he has nothing to fear because of Plague Engineer. Plague Engineer would have died. Or would have been killed by a lightning bolt if John had it at that end step.
Definitely. And now, Soren, this game's shifted very, very rapidly from John's favor back over to Soren's favor.
Yeah, throw that advantage bar all the way to the right.
And yeah, Soren's he can just sit there and attack. He can just beat him down with the Plague Engineer, and whenever he wants, if for some reason John does anything crazy, he can flip his thing in the ice and... What is that card? That's not the Wurmcoil Engine.
No, but it did get remanded. It
costs a lot.
Into the stories. Spell costs 3 less to cast, and opponent has 7 or more cards in the graveyard. Draw 4.
Oh, so it's just 4 mana.
It's instant speed, 4 mana.
Draw 4. It's 4 mana opportunity.
Yeah.
If your opponent has... Oh, that's very good.
Not a card that sees a lot of Martin play, not because of its power level, but just because there's not a whole lot of decks that would want that type of effect. But I can definitely see why Soren chose Into the Story for this.
Yeah.
And Wurmcoil will eat another remand coming from John.
And all John is really doing at this time, he's just treading water. He's just kind of delaying the inevitable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have Basic Island.
He picked up a lightning bolt, so...
Yep. Bolt Plague Engineer.
Now, I could see... Or, no, we know what's in Soren's hand. I was going to say, if I'm Soren, I could see... Cast a spell to flip my thing in the ice to protect my Plague Engineer.
Mm-hmm.
But... that is not the case.
Soren just pretty content with draw go. I see 2 cantrips in his hand, an Opt and a Thought Scour. So
he's just gonna... Oh, he's gonna mill...
Thought Scour
John.
you. And I draw.
And it looks like Bolt, Blast Zone are the mills from John here.
Mm-hmm. I believe he's picked up an Archmage's Charm.
And he's just going to play Into the Story again, and I think that's going to flip the thing in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe not? Nope.
Nope.
Must be the last counter on it then.
Mm-hmm. Notably, Into the Story does resolve, which is a huge deal in this
Soren
scenario.
just getting the 4-card reload here.
Mm-hmm. at John's end step, so it goes into his turn with a full grip of cards.
And this door for John is just going to be getting smaller and smaller, and Soren's just going to be slamming it right in his face now.
Yep. Here we have Opt to flip thing in the ice. Bottom of Polluted Delta. Drawing of another thing in the ice?
That's what that looked like. No attack. Oh, okay. I was going to say no attack from Soren, but...
Yep. He's looking at Thought Scour as if he wants to play it, the main phase, but I'm not quite sure. Nope, we'll just move to his end step and discard of Fetid Pools. Back to John's, and it's just a land and the handshake. Soren takes this 2-1 with blue-black Karn. I think it's fair to call this Karn deck.
Yeah, this Karn looked really sweet.
Yeah.
Soren's deck. Soren always has sweet decks. They always look sweet, and they always look sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Big ups to Soren. Great choice in altars. Maybe minus the Plague Engineer. Okay, so super short break of music, and we will be back with round 2.
The bottom fell out of the clouds today, and the rain came down like a mirror. One big sheet and it shattered on the ground. Now it's 7 years of bad luck all over this town. It's collection time on all of your debts, and you can't get by just talking. Your smile don't work, and your car don't start, and your doors ain't keeping you alone. No, not even if you lock them. No, not even if you lock them. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. The sun tried shining on a lost boy's eyes. They reflected oh so pretty, but it's cold behind them golden shores, and the sweet light wasn't nothing more than their own damn wishing, 'cause they just don't listen. Now wish on your candles, pray to your God, cry for your mama, put $1 on the bar. It feels like breathing, but the only good feeling ain't a gamble is a sin. So I think I'll play it safe and get a gin. I'll take the devil for a spin. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. For some the morning brings another day, but all it does for me is shine an ugly light around in the room that I've been hiding in. Now I take the easy way, yeah, that gets harder every day, but I ain't here to fix myself. I'm just trying to blind these eyes from hell. When you're tapped into that vital vein, just about anything feels good. I like to swim at the bottom of the barrel. I like to sleep in hidey holes and barroom stalls. I like to hear the piano playing in the bloody little dawn. I like to wake up with the devil and drink him till he's gone. The queen is drunk and someone armed the pawns. Oh, the truth they say is an acquired taste, a vice I've never thought to own. There is no clean air left, so we filter it through cigarettes. For the gambler's mercy keeps us blind and fade.
Hello everyone, we are back for round 2 of Modern, Monday nights at Pairodice Games. We see here a die roll between Nathan on Blue Moon and Soren, our winner in round 1, back on stream.
Excuse me. So, like we said, this is going to be another weird match. I think Soren is probably still going to be the favorite here. Although this is a bit of a different flavor of the blue-red Blood Moon deck. Mm-hmm. Notably, Nathan, I don't believe, has the combo Kiki Jiki and everything. I think he's just kind of playing a blue-red control deck. I think he does probably have like some young pyromancers and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So Soren's on the play again this round. We just see land go. We're probably going to see a lot of those in this matchup. Both these players not really like trying to be super aggressive on turn 1. This is very much a game that's going to be decided on the stack, not on the battlefield.
That being said, though, Young Pyromancer is probably going to be one of the better cards for Nathan, just because it's going to make multiple bodies, assuming that it resolves. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that Soren's deck probably struggles with is a lot of creatures.
A lot of small creatures that kind of go wide on the battlefield.
Yeah.
He's well set up for... What I'm assuming he's going for is like the more mid-rangey Jun, Abzan, Rock type matchups with cards like Push, Down the Loch, and counter spells. But this matchup, depending on how soon Nathan can deploy Pyromancer or Blood Moon, I did see a Brazen Borrower again in his opening hand, and Nathan shocking for a basic suggests an opt. See a cut. Another Mystical Sanctuary with no targets. Yep, yeah. We have an opt. The game day opt, I think,
or open house or something like that.
Open house. Scalding Tarn from Nathan's side, and a pass.
I think Nathan has most of this deck foil, actually. I don't think he has like his fetches, obviously, because those are $1 billion. But
agreed.
He has some sweet. He's got like a Invocation Kefnet that he loves to play.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the Invocation Kefnet's out of the 5 gods, I think that the Kefnet's probably the best one. Art-wise, at least.
Yeah. I like the Hazaret, too, actually. I've just,
The Hazaret's a little bit tainted for me, though, because of, don't get me wrong, Wizard was trying their best, but that font led to a lot of unfortunate situations with specifically Hazoret's name text.
Yeah. I'm just a big fan of the card Hazoret, the Fervent, to be honest. I killed a lot of people with that card on Saturday at the 1K. That was a pretty good event.
Card won a Pro Tour, so can't knock it.
Now this looks like this is I think that's a Blood Moon for Nathan and a Archmage's Charm.
Yeah, that was an Invocation Blood Moon being countered by Archmage's Charm.
And this Karn, probably downtick for like a liquid metal coating or something for Soren.
Mm-hmm. Actually, in this matchup, I think they just go for Mycosynth Lattice because Nathan really isn't putting on any pressure. I think that's the reason why we saw liquid metal coating in the first, was because there was a pressure being put on. But I think Soren now has the time for Mycosynth Lattice.
I definitely see what you're saying, and Soren definitely doesn't just have to play the Mycosynth Lattice on turn 6. Mm-hmm. He can play it on turn 10 if he wants, mm-hmm. and just he can keep up some counter magic, or even turn with 8 mana and keep up Drown in the Loch or something. But I think this was this just a plus Karn pass? He didn't grab his sideboard.
No, unless it was the very first card and he was just quick about it.
Excuse me, got something going on with my throat today, it appears. This looks like it was a plus Karn pass the turn. And now I think he wanted to keep the Karn out of bolt range. When you minus, probably.
That's fair. Okay, so now we see the downtick. And grabbing liquid metal coating.
Probably, I think he's just going to play liquid metal coating here, and now he can just keep Nathan off of red mana if he wants. Mm-hmm. Or he can limit his red mana to his upkeep.
Mm-hmm. We may just see Nathan crack that Fiery Islet in response, just to try and keep himself moving forward without having this liquid metal coating really holding him back from being able to cast his red spells, just get a card out of it rather than it doing nothing at crucial times. Liquid metal coating will eat a Spell Snare.
Is that what that is?
Pretty sure that is the new art for Spell Snare.
Oh yeah, you're right. The foil and the light made it look all wacky.
Yeah. This is Brazen Borrower flashed in.
Oh, and this is on Soren's end step, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so he gets to get in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notably, Karn probably not long for this game. Probably gonna see an attack on Karn at Nathan's turn if Soren does not have a removal spell for it.
Oh, and this is Fetch My Sunken Hollow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this was a Murderous Rider on the Brazen Borrower.
Okay. Don't hate that line.
And what is that card? Oh, this is just Serum Vision. Is that one of the new Secret Lair?
Yes, that is a Secret Lair Serum Visions.
Oh, those are sweet.
Yeah.
I really wanted to pick up a couple of those, and some of the other cards as well. They were super sweet.
Yeah, I think Reaper King was actually my favorite art that came out of there.
It's so cool. Ooh, and that is a very nice looking Expedition Steam Vents there.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Expedition arts.
Yeah, I think especially breaking it up, because so many of the blue-red lands are for some reason, they come out very dark, yet blue-red Steam Vents just kind of pops very well with color.
Yeah.
Not quite sure who did the art, but shout out to that artist. I think he deserves to do more.
For sure, definitely.
Right.
Ooh, and the shiny lightning bolt. mean, this is a super sweet match. First of all, this is just a really, really interesting. And second of all, it's a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to look at, because we've got the Battle of the Bling.
Yeah. Battle of the Bling, and Noah Bradley, thank you. Noah Bradley as the artist for that Steam Vents. But going back to my thoughts at the beginning of the match, it's panning out to be very much a game based on the stacks, because here we have 10 turns in, and both players still with nothing on the battlefield, just very back and forth in removal spells and counter spells.
And as these kind of control mirrors go, it's usually the first player to stumble on lands is usually the one that loses. And so far, Nathan is doing that.
Yep, and with Soren casting into the story to reload.
Oh yeah, he's just got a million cards in his hand now. Nathan did draw as a Scalding Tarn, it looks like, so that's gonna...
Notably, though, no 7th land off that into the story, which is why I think he wanted to play at main phase.
Yeah, definitely dig for some lands there.
Right, that looked like it drowned the lock off the top, though, so I still... Oh. Here we have a Scalding Tarn. And another into the story?
I don't know what that card is. It's a reader.
So it's the new art for Sorcerous Sypglass.
This is in the main... did he wish for it with his Karn?
No. I think he only got one wish off. I think
so he just has a couple in the main deck?
I'm pretty sure it's just one in the main.
Okay. What do you think the name is here?
In this matchup, I'm not quite sure. It may be the Kefnet if he sees it in Nathan's hand. Other than that, I can't think of a lot of activated abilities.
I don't hate... Well, you have to... How many times has Nathan fetched already this game? 2 or just the 1?
I think he's fetched twice.
Okay, I was gonna say, if he's only fetched once, I don't hate naming Scalding Tarn, just so you can kind of brick off some more of Nathan's draws, but that's not...
And there is one in his hand, in which we see Cryptic, Remand, Spell Pierce,
and Scalding Tarn.
And a Scalding Tarn. So, based on all information, I have to assume that Sorcerous Sypglass is naming Tarn.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we have him naming Jace the Mind Sculptor.
That's also not a bad name. That's going to be one of the cards that Nathan can deploy, and just it's going to help him get back into the game. Here we have a counter spell fired off on this thing in the ice. We'll see how Soren wants to respond. I don't think he actually has his own counter to fight back. Otherwise, I think he would have. I was pretty sure they had Drownland Lock in hand, but I think he's just not that interested in fighting over that. I think he's more or less wanting to stifle Nathan's threats while trying to keep this Sorcerous Sypglass on the battlefield. Nathan plays his own thing in the ice. This might see a response. No? He may just try to destroy it rather than counter it. Yes, yeah, with a fatal push. Now we have Nathan with the option. He can... This is where Nathan storms off and casts his 4 spells so that he can flip it. And then I think that works, right? And then it doesn't leave the battlefield and re-enter. No. Oh, that was a change. That was a change that happened with the new flip cards. Is that they do not leave the battlefield, and their converted mana cost stays the same as what their front face was, because they used to all have a converted mana cost of 0, which made no sense. Okay, it looks like Mystic Sanctuary, pick up my Archmage's Charm, or not pick up, but put on top. Drawing the Archmage's Charm, and Soren, I saw another Karn and another thing in the ice in his hand. I'm pretty sure. Or? that was a Snapcaster Mage. Okay. This is play my Murderous Rider.
I have to imagine that Nathan wants to bolt this.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Soren deciding that's fine, even though he had a couple of options on that to try and keep that Murderous Rider alive, but Murderous Rider.
Now, notably, the Murderous Rider is actually supposed to go to the bottom of Soren's library. I don't know. I think he missed that, but
Yeah, that at this point it's something that we can fix quite quickly.
yeah, I think this is just going to be a divination from Soren here at Nathan's end step.
Nathan going in the tank about this. If I'm Nathan, I'm inclined to try and counter this.
Yeah, he's Soren's only got 3 cards. I don't know how many cards Nathan has, but it's probably a similar. It looks like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it looks like 2. But deciding to let it resolve. I think that was Soren picking up another Snapcaster Mage.
Wow.
So if he finds Cryptic Command, I think Nathan will be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So here you have a thing in the ice. Not resolved quite yet.
What is that invocation on the right, or I guess on the bottom in Nathan's hand? That's not Cryptic Command, I don't think.
I think that's the Spell Pierce.
Okay. And those invocations, they look so cool. The art.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a remand on the thing in the ice.
Right.
Now, I think we might see Soren try fight over this. He's got a few Snapcaster Mages, and he's got some good cards in his graveyard.
The fights like this get a lot easier when you have multiple Snapcasters, because it just expands your options so much. But he's going to start by casting a Thought Scour, or flashing back a Thought Scour with the Snapcaster Mage, notably targeting Nathan. That seems a little loose to me, but because both as a Blue Moon player, I would assume that Nathan has Snapcaster Mages in his deck.
Oh, he milled the Cryptic Command that Nathan put on top with his own Mystic Sanctuary.
Oh.
He was trying to remand to draw his Cryptic, so he... Oh, okay.
Okay, so for any of you that missed it, Nathan did crack Scalding Tarn to find Mystic Sanctuary, because for some reason Mystic Sanctuary is an island. To put back Cryptic Command on top of his library, then cast a Remand to draw it immediately. Soren responded by milling Nathan with his own Thought Scour to put the Cryptic Command in the yard to keep it out of Nathan's hands. And I think we have a similar situation panning out with Soren right now. Cracking a Scalding Tarn, finding a Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Archmage's Charm. Pass back to Soren and attack with Snapcaster Mage. And we'll see if this thing in the ice gets redeployed. No, it will be Karn, the Great Creator. I think this is the third time that we've seen Karn be cast in just this game.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's see what Soren elects to do with it, should it resolve. It's looking like it might. I don't think Nathan has... He has the Spell Pierce, but...
That's not doing a whole Okay, I was mistaken. This is the second time that Karn has entered the battle. Karn has been cast, pardon, but the first one stuck around for a little bit, so it felt a little longer. And it's looking like this one will resolve as well.
And this is just going to be, excuse me, the straight down tick from Soren. Let's see what he gets.
Tormod's Crypt pulled out on top, which is going to be trouble because his graveyard is the way he's going to get back into it, because the Jace the Mind Sculptor that Nathan has drawn still under a Sorcerous Sypglass. Tormod's Crypt will be... Oh, we've got a Snapcaster from Nathan. That will get Archmage Charmed. Tormod's Crypt has resolved. And we'll see a pass back to Nathan, who has drawn Misty Rainforest. And Nathan is effectively down to just one card in his hand, while Soren has
a pretty full grip.
A pretty full grip, along with a threat, a Planeswalker, and 2 hate cards already on the battlefield. I feel like we're going to see a concession pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't know what cards, if I'm Nathan, bring me back from this. There's not a whole lot I can think of.
Yeah.
And this is another Karn minus, it looks like. And Karn finds Hedron Archive.
Hedron Archive. Does Soren want to draw more cards?
I think that's the plan. One thing that I have seen the Karn decks do is they play a relic as a way to cantrip, because you fetch it, or you wish for it, crack it, and then you can minus your Karn again to get it from exile to play it, so you can just keep cycling your relic.
As a loop.
Yeah. It's not very effective because you have to plus the Karn a few times between, but you can, you can draw an extra card every, 2 turns or something. Mm-hmm. And so in the really grindy matchups,
so I guess Hedron Archive, while being a whole lot less mana efficient, is just twice the cards at that rate.
Yeah.
It almost seems like in that role they would want a chromatic artifact rather than that be Star Sphere.
Well, it doesn't put itself into exile, though, and Karn finds it from exile.
Oh, correct.
Or at least with the relic in that case.
Okay. We have a draw of Invocation Blood Moon, which will be deployed. At this point, I don't think Soren's too worried about that.
Well, he does have a bunch of, looks like 3 Mystic Sanctuaries and a bunch of dual lands. So while it's not the best card, if he can, that could be one of the stepping stones to Nathan climbing back into the game. Mm-hmm. It probably won't, but it's going to help.
And here we get some beats from the Hedron Archive from a Karn Plus.
Animate my Hedron Archive.
And that should put Nathan to 1. Yeah. That was an attack for 6. Soren thoroughly in the driver's seat, and
I think
Nathan decides to go to his next turn, and he's taking a deep pause.
Tank into concede.
Okay. So that was game 1, going to Soren. And out of Soren's deck, we see a pretty an almost similar sort of matchup. I do like the Mystical Dispute coming back in. The Murderous Rider may want to come in just as an answer to Thing in the Ice.
You also kill Jace with it.
Correct. I think Plague Engineer may or may not come in. It all depends on if Soren has the download on the Young Pyromancers coming in on Nathan's board. But other than that, I don't see a whole lot. Ashiok Dreamrender might actually be
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good as just mill myself 5 to fuel my Snapcaster Mages, and then exile his graveyard, because for some reason you can split that effect.
You can split it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can mill yourself.
That card is so good.
Yeah, you can mill yourself and
exile their graveyard.
Exile their graveyard.
War of the Spark, man, that set keeps getting better and better.
Right, and one of the things is that Ashiok shutting down fetches is a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, out of Nathan's side, I do see a lot that I think I want to bring in here.
You ever just jam 15 cards from your... You never just take your whole sideboard and just put it right in?
Yeah, because I don't...
Like, I don't... The only cards I think maybe I don't like out of Nathan's sideboard are the Magmatic Sinkholes. I think all of the rest of the cards I'm just super into.
Yeah, Ceremonious Rejection, Surgical... Surgical... There's an argument for surgical and surgical out, I think. So I think with the amount of cards I want to bring in, I don't think he's going to want surgicals. Just taking out too much of the core of the deck at that point. But he's still bringing in 11 cards out of the sideboard, because I don't see a bad one in the bunch. It all just depends on what he deems most important.
Yeah, I definitely like... 100% I like the Young Pyromancers. I like the Mystical Disputes, I like the Disdainful Stroke. I like the Ceremonious Rejections. Those are the ones I would 100% bring in, and the rest are kind of maybes.
Yeah, I think Abraid's fine in this matchup. Just because he saw the Karn, he knows he's going to at least try Karn in this matchup. And just being able to hold up two mana if he just like float 2 mana in case he ever goes for Liquid Metal Coating or Mycosynth Lattice is a big game for him. It's probably going to sit in his hand, and he may die with it in his hand, but having that option is, I think, necessary in this matchup. Again, not a lot coming in from Soren because of the Wish package. So, we'll see how things go with Nathan on the play for this round. I'm sorry. We have Ashiok up on the screens, and spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause their controller to search their library. Again, shutting down the fetch lands most notably, and being able to have a constant exile effect, a repeatable exile effect on Nathan's graveyard will probably be very important in this matchup.
Also, there's two. Soren had presumably brought in both. Worse, like, this could just be mill you for 20, mill you for 20.
Yeah,
and like you lose the game because you're going through a lot of your deck.
Yeah, both decks, or Nathan's deck filled with cantrips and cryptic commands and other various card draw outlets. It's not out of the realm of possibility of two-thirds of the deck being gone being enough.
I'm kind of into that.
Yeah. Another Planeswalker from War of the Spark acting as a win condition. Who would have thunk? So here we have a draw go for the first couple of turns. Both players just wanted to develop their mana bases at this point and possibly cast a cantrip from time to time. Here we have Soren with an opt, keeping on top and drawing it, which I didn't get a good look at what it was. I believe it was Thing in the Ice, but I couldn't tell. We do see a Drown the Loch in his hand and an Archmage Charm. So it's looking like Soren's hand's developing quite well.
I see a Karn for Soren as well.
Here we have another fetch from Nathan. Bringing both two basic islands to start with, and it looks like he has 2 of his Invocation Blood Moons in hand.
That makes a lot of sense that he's fetching island. Well, I mean, I guess that's all he can fetch with.
Yeah, and we have basic Mountain into Blood Moon.
This is pretty good. I expect that we see Soren probably fetch basic Swamp here.
Mm-hmm. Thought Scour you. Draw. We'll see what he wants to do with this. Polluted Delta. He has a couple of options. He has either find basic Swamp or try and find Mystical Sanctuary to put something back. I think I'm just in... No, he just finds another basic or snow-covered island. Does he have another cantrip that he wants to cast this turn?
That's possible. He also might just know that he's going to want a lot more heavy blue spells than he does heavy black spells. And so that's... Oh, he has the Swamp in his hand.
Oh, he does.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, the Blood Moon not looking ideal when your opponent is also playing a lot of basics, but it's gonna do the job. It's gonna turn off a lot of Soren's other lands that he draws.
So now the question from Nathan is, do I want to just deploy second Blood Moon while the shields are down? Just for redundancy and backup? We have a Prismatic Vista, quote-unquote, mountain being played from Nathan and a pass back. Notably, not basic island so that he can cast Cryptic Command if needed. Okay, we have third basic island, which is a big deal. We have Bolt going to face.
It's probably just Bolt, Snap, Bolt.
Yeah, Bolt, Snap, Bolt on the thing in the ice. And we have a Drown in the Loch on the... what I assume is the Snapcaster Mage that then gets dispelled. And then...
Bolt your thing.
Yeah, bolt your thing in the ice.
That makes a lot... I thought Nathan was going face with the Bolt, and I was like, what? There's a thing in the ice. What? You can't attack through it, but...
Yeah.
That...
Yeah, the hand motions made it seem like face, but thing in the ice does make a bit more sense, because Snapcaster can't attack through that. We have a Dismember on the Snapcaster Mage, with another one in Nathan's hand, from the looks of it. And followed up by Karn. Now, notably something that we missed last game was that Liquimel coating in this situation is a strip mine effect, because he can just play it, activate it, and then tick up Karn on the land that was targeted by Liquimel coating to turn it into a 0/0.
Yeah.
And if he does, and this was also one of the situations where I think in Nathan's spot, a Braid would have been necessary to bring in out of the sideboard. But instead we see Tormod's Crypt. Soren very, very sneakily scoping out the Snapcaster Mage in Nathan's hand. A lot of forethought put into that play, which I'm a really big fan of. And we see another downtick from Karn to find Liquimel coating. So now I think Nathan's in a lot of trouble, because here's a deploy of the Snapcaster Mage, hoping this will resolve so he can flashback a counterspell or a bolt.
What does he have in his graveyard? He's got a Dispel. Oh, he's gonna sack the relic or the Tormod Crypt in response.
Yeah, and just
have an Ambush Viper. Here you go.
Now, notable cards in Soren's hand is a Drown the Loch, Archmage's Charm, Cryptic Command. So we'll probably see an Archmage's Charm on the Snapcaster Mage to bounce. Bounce is one of the modes of Archmage's Charm, correct?
No, I think it's gain control of a permanent with CMC 1, Divination, and Counterspell.
Right.
I think it only has 3 modes.
Or his own Snapcaster Mage. That works too.
Turns out Snapcaster Mage blocks Snapcaster Mage.
Yep, that's true. That's real. And here we have an activation of Liquimel coating
in the upkeep to turn off Nathan's mountain.
To turn off his mountain, and then a Snapcaster Mage will flash back Dismembered to kill Nathan's Snapcaster Mage.
So yeah, just everything we've seen from Soren's deck, he might have broke it. He might have broke Modern.
It's breaking this matchup for sure. Just as two blue controlling decks that are trying to play Archmage's Charm, Cryptics, and Snaps, having Karn as your win condition is such a hard game for Nathan to deal with.
Yeah.
So here we have Magmag's Sinkhole on Karn. He did decide to bring in the sinkholes out of the sideboard.
Does Sinkhole also hit planeswalkers? I thought it only hit creatures.
It's any target, I'm pretty sure.
Really? Wow. Apparently, I don't know what Modern Horizons cards do. Oh, it's creature or planeswalker. Okay.
Oh, it's a lava dart. I'm sorry. That can hit any. Another red card from Modern Horizons.
Man, do I love me some red cards.
Yeah.
I used to think that blue cards were the best. I mean, the blue cards are pretty cool, but like, have you ever just cast lightning bolts? It's great.
Or Skullcrack or Monastery Swiftspear.
Man, let me tell you about Monastery Swiftspear. Let me tell you about Bomat Courier, okay? That card, it's the little construct that could, okay?
Card won a pro... Notably, that card won a Pro Tour as well.
Oh, yeah.
God, I'm glad we stepped away from... It was like a string of I think, like 3 Pro Tours straight in a row that were won by mono red aggro.
I would take mono red over Oko, to be honest, though.
Yeah.
I don't like that card.
I don't either. Notably, for those watching this, Oko has just been banned approximately 6 hours ago in Pioneer, along with Nexus of Fate. So we have, from format to format to format, Oko is getting banned. Modern and Legacy might be his last bastions, but based on his prevalence of archetypes, he may just be banned just for the sheer fact that too many decks are getting too expensive. But back to the match at hand, we see just a pretty consistent draw go between the two.
And the same thing as before, this match, this type of gameplay is just gonna make Soren pull farther and farther ahead because he's just got all the answers, and Nathan is gonna have to come to him.
Mm-hmm. Here we have a Force of Negation targeting the Spell Snare that's targeting Nathan's Young Pyromancer.
I think this might just be a force your force. I think Nathan's down to 1 card in his hand, right?
Yes.
And yeah, Soren's just still got 3 or 4 cards.
Yep.
Maybe 5.
Notably Cryptic and Force of Negation, and what I believe to be a Drown block that he's had for a couple turns, but he's gonna let the Young Pyromancer live.
Looks like he's gonna
push.
Oh, it's a fatal. Is that it?
Yep.
Well, that's really cool too.
Yeah, good altar.
A few weeks ago, speaking of all these very nice altars, I played against a guy who was playing like red green Valakut, like Titan Breach, and his whole deck was, he altered it himself. It was super cool. All the lands formed a panorama. It was very nice.
Oh, that would trigger my OCD though. If there was one missing out of like a string of 3.
You're like, no. Oh, that would be so bad.
Okay. It looks like we have a Fatal Push on the Snapcaster Mage to flip Thing in the Ice.
Oh, and then it's going to fizzle his Fatal Push so he gets to pick up his Snapcaster Mage?
Yes.
That's...
And we are having a Petty Theft on Thing in the Ice.
So now he just gets to, like... He just gets to force.
Yeah, force, pay full retail for it. Nathan just sitting there with a Blood Moon in his hand.
I'm going to get to reset my Snapcaster Mage now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just going to see him, like, just flash it in. He's just going to flash it in. He doesn't even have to play anything. He just gets to... yeah, that's the match.
Yep, that's the match. Nathan showing the second Blood Moon in his hand that he's had since the beginning of the game. Soren takes that 2-0, and with that very decidedly win from Soren, here's a message from our sponsor.
Yeah, so we'd like to talk about, excuse me, Die Hard Dice. They are the premier producer for metal dice, and if you're somebody who likes foils or blinged out, just like both of these two decks, they have the foils, they got the masterpieces, the sweet altars, cool playmats. These dice are gonna be your next accessory. They're very nice. They feel amazing. They roll awesome. They're one of the coolest bling items that you can find.
And these really are the best. We have them in stock here at Pairodice Games in Bellingham, Washington. But if you're not local, you can shop for them at dieharddice.com. They're great Christmas gifts with the holiday season coming up, and I can't think of a gamer that would not want a set of these dice. They're just really reaffirming to have. You always know when you're rolling a set, and they never get mixed up. Not a lot of people have these, so it's always great to have them specifically, though. So you always keep track of what you have. Oh yeah, you're always as somebody who you play a lot of games, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose dice. You have these little plastic ones. They just sometimes you lose them. They fall off the table. People pick them up. Whatever. These things, if I've got a set of these, I'm not letting them out of my sight. Nobody's picking these up. These are gonna be my prized possessions. These are very nice. Yeah. And now we've got Hot Damn Scandal before a few Time Machine rounds from last week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with round 3.
Hello, welcome back to round number 2 here for Thursday night Pairodice Games Pioneer. We have Brad versus John, so gonna be a nice fun match. Brad's playing a little bit of red-green blitz. It's playing hexproof creatures. Quite notably, that's their adaptation, or that's Brad's adaptation on the archetype. He's trying to make his creatures difficult to interact with, and trying to just cast a load of pump spells on them, oh boy, my words really got away from me, in an effort to get his opponent dead quickly. So, meanwhile, John, on the other hand, he's playing blue-black artifacts. I'm not certain why he's titled it Demir Whales, but John's got some nice ones in his deck. I'll leave a lot of the surprises to be encountered as we get there, but I'm pretty certain that I'm gonna need production to let me know what a good few of these cards are, because John did some digging through the depths to find some good ones for this deck. So looking forward to it. Looks like John's on a mulligan to 6 here. Oh, looks like maybe another mulligan here. Looks like Brad's got a nice 7. I see Gorclan Rampager, Season of Growth, some lands. Looks pretty good to me. Can't really be too ashamed with any of that. I also think I see a Pairodice Druid there in Brad's hand, so definitely starting with the Boggle theme. Got his hexproof creatures and all that, so. All right. Brad's giving us a nice look here at the hand. I saw it was a little fast. I saw Gorclan Rampager, Stomping Ground. There's definitely a couple hexproof creatures in there. Bassara Tower Archer, that's the one. So. Oh, it is not a Pairodice Druid. My bad. For some reason I thought I saw a Pairodice Druid, but I'm clearly mistaken. Looks like Stomping Ground tapped is going to be how we start this game off. John, after his mulligan to 5 here, his hand's looking admittedly subpar, as the usual. So John will lead us off with the tap land as well. There's Gladecover Scout off the top for Brad. And here comes Season of Growth from Brad. So this is definitely one of the engines the deck is built on, and for those of you who need to read it, I'm sure we're going to have that one up on the screen here very shortly. Essentially, it just rewards you for casting pump spells at your creatures. You're going to get a draw some extra cards. The creatures scry you towards your pump spells you're looking for. It's very similar to like a reverse Shaper's Sanctuary. So it looks like John's going to play an island, send it back over to Brad. We'll see what Brad manages to do now. Teamer Battle Rage off the top. And here's Basara Tower Archers. When it enters the battlefield, Brad will scry 1 off the Season of Growth. Looks like that one's going to stay there, though I didn't get a good look at it was. I saw it was red. I assume it's a pump spell of some kind, so. Here's a card off the top for John. I can't see what that one is. I think the glare's a little bad on that one. I think it might be the black puzzle box from Kaladesh, but I'm not entirely certain. Oh, it is. It's Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot. Hey! That was right. Let's go, me. All right, so when Metal Spinner's Puzzle Knot enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose a life. 3 mana, sack it. You draw a card and lose a life. So the traditional Puzzle Knot text. So looks like here's going to be Gladecover Scout. Brad will go ahead and scry 1 off the Season of Growth. Looks like he's giving this one a think. His hand looks pretty powerful, and he's got a Teamer Battle Rage. So anytime he manages to find any real relevant anytime he manages to find relevant threats in the form of pump spells, he's going to be able to double it. So here comes Titan Strength. He's going to draw the card he scryed to the top, then he'll scry off the Titan Strength and put that one on the bottom, Forest for turn. Presumably he scryed that one to the top, and then he's going to go ahead and bash John down to 15. So pretty effective there. That Titan Strength replaced itself, dealt 3 points of damage, and scryed a card to the bottom. Gotta be feeling good about that if you're Brad. Although he does look a little bit Teamer Battle Rage flooded. He does need to find another land to be able to Gorkland Rampager plus Teamer Battle Rage, which I believe he has like two of those, I think, from a quick flip through here. So, all right. Looks like we're back over to John's side now. Looks like he's hitting us with a Servo Schematic. Boy, John's really got these Kaladesh uncommons on lock here. So when Servo Schematic enters the battlefield or is put into a graveyard from play, you make a 1/1 colorless Servo. So John's got his 1/1 colorless Servo game on lock. He's trying to look to block, but this does not seem like it's going to be a particularly effective plan here against Brad. Here's another Basara Tower Archers. He's going to go ahead and scry 1 Forest on top. He's going to send that to the bottom. That leads me to believe he's probably found another land already, because if he didn't have his 4th one, I'd be inclined to draw it. All right, so here is attack with Gladecover Scout and the Basara Tower Archers. John's going to go ahead and make the tempting block. Brad's going to give him the bad news with the Titan Strength, so Brad will draw a card. It's Bone Crusher Giant. Then he'll scry 1 Season of Growth to the bottom. John's going to take some more damage, but he is looking real rough on this mulligan to 5 here. It's going to be really hard for me to imagine a real world where John's going to be able to come back from this one knowing the contents of Brad's hand. And it is possible, but this next turn needs to be very large. I mean, we're thinking, I want to see like a Bantu's Last Reckoning or something similar in order to see John get back in this game, but I don't think that he has anything like that. So here's Scrabbling Claws, or Scrabbler's Claws, if you'll excuse me. It's essentially a discount relic of Progenitus. It only scries, and but other than that, it essentially does the same thing, although it does exile itself, which is somewhat noticeable in Modern, where I've seen some people try and play it instead of Relic of Progenitus so that you can loop certain artifacts, instead of Tormod's Crypt. All right. So now we'll see what Brad wants to do. Looks like he's going to Teamer Battle Rage his Basara Tower Archer. He's got a trigger here, so he's probably looking to draw something to be able to pump. Looks like it's Mountain. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to play the Mountain before the Teamer Battle Rage resolves. So we might be missing out on the Ferocious here from the Teamer Battle Rage, but that's probably not the end of the world. So the Teamer Battle Rage will resolve. Brad's going to play a Mountain. Then he'll go ahead and attack. Then he's going to Blood Rush the one that got Battle Raged with the Gore Clan Rampager. So that's...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to round 3 at Pairodice Games. We are joined by my co-host Patrick,
and we're watching King of the Hill Soren Wellman on the right versus Abraham on Grixis Shadow.
We've seen Soren in the past two rounds dispatch a couple variations of Blue Moon style decks, one more controlling, one more aggressive with a fairies theme. But now we have Grixis Death Shadow from Abraham, and I think this matchup's gonna be over a lot quicker than the previous two, because I think Abraham has the tools in the deck to deal with Soren. I'm not super confident in this matchup for Soren. I think Grixis Death Shadow's efficiency and its threats will be a little bit too much for Soren to handle.
Yeah, notably cards like Gurmag Angler Soren's gonna have a hard time killing those with Fatal Push and Drown in the Loch. Obviously, Death Shadow is just a very, very fast clock. But Soren hasn't disappointed us against the blue-red decks yet, and Abraham has both blue and red cards in his deck.
Yeah,
so
you mentioned Drown in the Loch, and man, does that card's real estate in this matchup just drops.
Yeah,
with Gurmag Angler having Delve. So here we have Abraham already down to 14 off of 2 Street Wraiths and a Shockland. Notably, no plays for turn 2, but here we have Soren firing off an Opt at the end of his turn. Abraham is on the play in this matchup. And we'll see Soren play a fetch land, a pass, and Abraham cracking his fetch at the end of Soren's turn.
Presumably fetch shocking here. And he might be, let's see if he's doing anything at the end step.
Yeah, this may be...
It's a Blood Crypt, I believe. Abraham also is a fan of the Invocations.
Okay.
Not Expeditions, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that... Huh, weird. The foiling process turns it green under the right light, but yes, we do have Blood Crypt entering the battlefield untapped, putting Abraham down to 11. This may be to set up a Death Shadow to be deployed, or we may see some sort of hand attack just to check to see if the coast is clear. Whether that be Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek. I'm not quite sure about his numbers in the main deck.
Looks like it's just going to be past the turn back, though. So, looks like maybe a little threat light for Abraham, or maybe he didn't, maybe he's got like a Gurmag Angler. I didn't get a good look at his hand, and he hasn't been able to get the rest of the cards to fuel it up yet.
Mm-hmm. If he had a Thought Scour, I would have thought they would have played it last turn, post fetch, but we just see tap land from Soren, and nope, he takes that back. That's going to be a shock. We'll see what he has. He does have an Archmage's Charm in hand, which he is looking to hold up. We have Abraham in the tank during his first main phase. And just a pass back after playing a Polluted Delta.
And this is just the same thing we've seen every game before this. These games of draw go, that's just going to keep... Soren's just going to keep pulling further and further ahead, because that's exactly what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Without Abraham having a threat in these first 4 turns, I'm starting to wonder what his hand composition would be like. I think he's mostly on reactive spells then.
I think he was banking on drawing into something with his 2 Street Wraiths, would be my guess, and he just got unlucky. But
yeah.
This might be...
A Vendilion Click?
Is that what that card is?
I think so.
I think you're right.
Grixis Death Shadow?
You learn something new every day.
This will be a drown the Loch to take care of it. Counter it, excuse me. I do see a copy of the Royal Scions in Abraham's hand.
That's going to be a card that can kill Soren.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to keep plussing, and it's going to ultimate, and probably have to do it twice, but...
Yeah. And notably, not have... A Planeswalker threat that doesn't... A Planeswalker threat is really good here, because unless the specifically Spell Pierce is in Soren's hands, which I have not seen in his main deck either time...
Oh, he's going to Force of Negation.
Force of Negation does take care of it, though.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty scary for Soren, though. I don't know how many cards he has that actually deal with a Planeswalker. I mean, I know we've seen the Murderous Riders from him, but I don't know exactly how many he's playing.
Right. There's the one on the sideboard, but I haven't seen any game 1. So I think you just may have the 1 or 2 on the board. But here we see another draw go from Soren. Abraham going down to 9 from his lands. And we'll see if he can start deploying a threat. It'll be really hard because Soren does have 4 lands and Cryptic up. But multiple threats this turn could get him onto the board and start applying pressure. Fatal Push was the draw. Definitely not what Abraham wanted to see there.
Yeah, this is one of the great things for Soren is that game 1... Abraham's deck is just so not very good against him. He's got, I mean, like Thoughtseize is a good card, but when you have 9 million cards in your hand, it can only be so good. Mm-hmm. And like Kolaghan's Command is good, but again,
spending three mana on this turn during his main phase, I think that this is not going to resolve. Targeting the modes are
probably
a Duress and targeting the Vendilion Click in his graveyard to return back to his hand. We'll see what Soren wants to do. I imagine he's going to want to counter this because it's an inherent 2-for-1. Yes, we see
drown in the loch.
Drown in the loch on it. Now I think... Oh, this was at Soren's end step. Okay, this makes more sense for the timing. We see a draw of another Polluted Delta, which you hate to see it because I think Abraham has had a pretty bad string of draws over the last couple turns of just not having any real meaningful card.
Yeah. And this is just going to be Thought Scour. I think he's milling himself, probably.
I would believe that because I would assume that Abraham is also playing some copies of Snapcaster Mage in his list.
Oh, targeting Abraham, it looks like.
Seems to really prefer that. It does feel maybe he's just trying to overwhelm his graveyard. Just say, yeah, you can still delve Gurmag Gambler, but you'll still have 5+ cards in your yard. Milling over a Thought Scour of Abraham's own and a Stubborn Denial.
And here's Snapcaster probably firing off the Thought Scour from Abraham.
No,
Kolaghan's Command.
We see it targeting Kolaghan's Command, probably on the same modes
as before.
Yeah.
Pick up my V-Click, you discard. Soren's gonna push.
Soren will push the Snapcaster Mage just to eliminate one threat. And Soren opting to discard Cryptic Command. Seems like an odd one to discard it with 4 blue. But here we see Into the Story to draw 4, just as a main phase reload to deploy a land in the same turn, just to keep his mana developing.
And again, I don't want to be a broken record, but as we've seen time and time again with Soren here, just all of these draw go pass games are just gonna end in Soren's favor. That's just how it goes.
So we see Drowning Log, Murderous Rider, Thing in the Ice, Island, Fatal Push, and Remand in there. He opts to take the Murderous Rider, which makes me think that Abraham has another threat to deploy that Fatal Push can't hit. But I'm interested to see like what this threat will be. Is this another Royal Silence?
No, that's the Vendilion Click.
Vendilion Click. So that's what I think is probably going to put the Drowning Lock at the bottom. Oh no, he V-clicks himself.
To get rid of his stubborn denial. It's not bad.
No, not bad. It's not the best use of a... Well, it's probably what he had to do, but...
He drew the Death Shadow.
Okay. This is what I was talking about. Being able to deploy 2 threats per turn. We have a Karn off the top for Soren. But we have 2 relatively decent threats coming from Abraham. We've got a 5/5 Death Shadow and the 3/1 Flying Vendilion Click. Land from Soren. But the problem is, he's got both Push and Drowning Loch in hand. He can easily kill both of these while taking 2 counters off of
his Thing in the Ice.
His Thing in the Ice.
Good.
So,
yeah,
yep.
Push for Shadow. And I would expect that we just see the Drown in the Loch now, so we can't.
Yeah, just stop any form of interaction from happening. Thing in the Ice with 2 counters. We have Push on the Thing in the Ice, well timed, and here's another Kolaghan's Command.
Probably pick up my Death Shadow, make you discard.
Yep, and being able to. Yep, he's able to deploy it. Now it's Karn versus Death Shadow, but notably, Abraham is now empty-handed.
And that's Karn, and what's the other card in?
It was his draw for turn. I did not get a good look at it.
It might have been another Remand.
Mm-hmm. I have to assume that we have... Oh, geez. This one's actually tough because it has to be something Crypt. Okay. So, at this point, I think Soren is...
Oh, it's just a Fatal Push?
It's just a Fatal Push. Oh. Okay. We may see Tormod's Crypt on upkeep. No? We have... I think he's thinking Snapcaster. He wants his Tormod's Crypt for Snapcaster Mage when I think he would really hate to see a Gurmag Angler, in which case I would love to see that. Okay. That's what I was talking about. I think he needed to deploy that Tormod's Crypt or activate it.
In response to the Serum Visions, even.
Yeah. There was a chance for him to do this. Now we'll see what happens. We may see Drown the Loch. We may see...
He can just get Wurmcoil Engine.
Okay. That's a big game, though.
I mean, that leaves him like not even that weak to Kolaghan's Command here, because it just makes 2 bodies.
Yeah, and notably one of them still having Death Touch. So I have Wurmcoil Engine, Land Pass. This Gurmag Angler is looking pretty... It's weird to say Gurmag Angler looking small at this point.
Yeah, that's not something that happens frequently by any means.
No. Soren taking a quick peek at Abraham's graveyard.
It's just gonna hard cast
Street
Wraith, which is not bad. It can attack underneath because Soren controls some swamps.
Yep.
But the Wurmcoil Engine is just gonna kill Abraham in
2 turns.
2 attacks.
Yep.
Assuming he doesn't block. But.
Yeah, right. We may see Chump Block with Gurmag Angler, which most every time I've seen that on stream, it has been... I don't think I've seen a Chump Block with Gurmag Angler and seen the Death Shadow player pull out. We do have...
This is put into the story on top of my deck with Mystic... Oh,
after... Why is this card in... Why is Mystical Sanctuary an island? Why?
You never... Good question.
Let's just... Is that 2 Archmage's Charm,
Yeah,
a Thought
2
Scour,
Archmages.
and a Remand? Land. Okay. Chalk that up to the offenses of Throne of Eldraine.
So the secret mode on Archmage's Charm, I just thought about this, is kill your opponent's Death Shadow. Because you gain control of it, and then it dies because you're at a higher life total than 13. That's sweet.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, he's going to double block.
A trade?
I don't know. I guess he doesn't get to keep his Wurmcoil, and so he can maybe he can draw a Fatal Push or something to deal with the tokens, but...
Mm-hmm. But that seems just way too slow with this Karn possibly finding more action for Soren.
Yeah, if he can just minus Karn and get Mycosynth Lattice.
Yeah.
The game is effectively over anyways, but like...
Yeah, because there's not a card in... Yeah, without going to sideboard, like Stubborn Denial doesn't even counter it because he doesn't have any creatures. Okay, so we have...
One of them, probably the Death Touch one.
But that gets countered by Archmage's Charm. We have an uptick, pass it back. Abraham draws a card and says go. All meanwhile being at 2, and that's game 1. So out of Soren's sideboard, Ashiok I think is great in here. We saw no.
So I don't hate the Plague Engineers because one thing, Abraham is probably going to be taking out a lot of his spot removal.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Plague Engineer, like, one thing that Death Shadow just has a hard time dealing with sometimes is just, like, chump blockers.
Yeah, chump blockers.
Especially chump blockers with Death Touch.
Yeah. Chump blockers with Death Touch. It's probably going to name Human just to say you don't get to keep the Snapcaster Mage around.
Yeah, or maybe even shrinking, like, a Gurmag Angler isn't awful.
Yeah. So I see Ashioks, the Plague Engineers, the second Murderous Rider. Again, I'm assuming it's the second.
We did see the one, at least.
Right, and probably the Mystical Dispute coming in just to be able to have that one spell to win a counter war over like a Stubborn Denial. Out of the Grixis Shadow list, a Braid I'm pretty okay with. The additional counter spells I think come in. Oh, wow, I think this may be pretty similar to last time, where Abraham can really just kind of sideboard however he wants, because I think every card in here is pretty good.
Yeah. The weird part about... So this is kind of the thing I've been thinking about with all of our... Soren's opponents have been having a Braid all night.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing about playing a Braid, is bringing in your Braids, is Soren, like, just doesn't even need to play his Karn. He can just kill you with, like, Snapcaster Mages or Murderous Rider or, like...
The flip thing in the ice.
Yeah, and like then you just feel like a real schmuck.
Yeah.
When you like, I'm gonna really get him with this Braid, and then you just like look at a thing in the ice and you're like, well, crap. What do I do with this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's either fine or awful.
Yeah. I think. The big way that Abraham can win this game is just being able to resolve the Royal Scions.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of the hardest things for Ashiok or one of the hardest things for Soren to deal with cleanly. Minus of course, a counterspell or a Murderous Rider. Other than that, I haven't seen a lot of real ways to answer that card very cleanly. We have both players shuffling up for game 2. Abraham will be on the play for this one.
Oh, excuse me. I think I figured out why Soren's been winning all night.
He hasn't been mulliganing?
I mean, other than the fact that his deck is sweet and he hasn't been mulliganing and he's a good player, it's the blue Gatorade.
Yeah, we have seen that before every crucial turn.
Yeah, so
watch Gatorade stocks have just now risen by 0.2%.
Yeah. Gatorade, I'm accepting sponsorships if you're okay.
Stop shilling. Okay, so it looks like we have a mulligan, or the first mulligan from Abraham. Looks like Soren's keeping 7.
We've only seen Soren mulligan like one time, right?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, his deck is so... he has a lot of easy keeps.
Yeah, there's no nonsense. It just does the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Keeping 6, 1 to bottom. Abraham will start us off. I see Serum Visions pulled to the front. Pardon? Bloodstained Mire. Probably gonna fetch for Watery Grave, if I was a betting man. I guess Steam Venge was also an option, but we do see a Watery Grave come down. This is probably... He's shocked for it, so he's down to 17, and is probably going to deploy a Serum Visions to start the game. Again, you'll see in these type of matchups, the first turns are generally either hand attack or just setups with cantrips, making sure that you hit your land drops, because the games will go long, and both players need to be operating on all cylinders to win these games.
So this is kind of interesting here. Abraham elects to cycle the Street Wraith first. I think I kind of like playing Serum Visions, see what's on top, and if we want to scry to the top, then we can just cycle right away to get that card into our hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it matters particularly too much.
Mm. I mean, I think
You draw another Street Wraith? Is that what the black card is?
I believe so. I think cycling Street Wraith
Oh, it's
is...
a Death Shadow.
Oh. Well, that's quite good. And we do see a Thoughtseize in his hand.
Now, these are going to be the starts that Abraham is looking for. These are going to be the ones that make it very hard for Soren to win and stabilize. Being able to play a big threat and then back it up with a Thoughtseize and then maybe Stubborn Denials or...
Yeah, because if it is a Death Shadow and Thoughtseize in his hand, he's going to Thoughtseize, fall to 10, then deploy a 3/3 Death Shadow, and then on the next turn, being able to, say, cycle Street Wraith again.
And then maybe Fetch Shock or something. That's a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of damage, and with Stubborn Denial as backup. But going back on the sequencing of Serum Visions versus Thoughtseize, the cycling the Street Wraith first actually sees more cards than Serum Vision, unless Serum Vision is a double bottom.
You're right.
So there are more situations where you see more information by cycling first rather than playing Serum Vision first. Actually, that is a Tassiger the Golden Fang. That card's going to be great in this matchup. Just being able to rebuy while keeping his... Again, here we come back to Drown the Loch looking pretty bad in the face of Delve spells.
Yep. We might have even seen Soren sideboard some out. Is Soren stuck on one land? Or was this Abraham?
This is turn 2, so Soren still has a chance to play a land.
Okay. But he's digging a liquor. No, he's got a Mystical Sanctuary in his hand, it looks like.
And a Fledged Strand.
Okay.
Which he may just opt to play the Sanctuary, and put... Did he miss a trigger there?
No, because it wouldn't have entered untapped.
Oh, he doesn't have an island.
He doesn't have 3 other islands.
3 other islands, right. Uh-oh. Here we have a 3/3 Death Shadow being deployed with two blue mana being floated open and a Tassiger getting into the red zone. Abraham's in the driver's seat right now. We'll see how Soren can combat this, but land go. I think Abraham is feeling pretty good at this point. Again, it's very early in the game, but we see Death Shadow can win quite quickly with starts like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, attack incoming for 7. A push on
The Shadow.
the Shadow.
It's a good start.
Mm-hmm. Abraham just opts to Thought Scour himself before the fail push resolves.
He might just draw his Summer Denial, which is just a 1-mana counterspell at the moment.
But we still have the Tassiger coming in. And that will connect for 4, so Soren is now down to 12. And we see the power coming from this Death Shadow deck of just saying, hey, my threats cost 1 mana, and so is my interaction.
Now I kinda like flashing the Snapcaster Mage in at Soren's end step. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of aggressive, but you turn your 3-turn clock into a 2-turn clock.
Yes.
And if Soren is already kind of playing on the back foot, that might just be the little bit of pressure you need to really topple him over.
So here we have Soren fetching for Watery Grave. We'll see what his follow-up is. Because so far he hasn't had a whole lot of action/interaction. We did see a Murderous Rider come in, which is probably going to be used to take out this Tassiger. If Abraham does not have any sort of interaction, but we're just going to see a pass back and a draw of the Royal Scions. We do see Snapcaster Mage in the grip, which I think I think playing the Royal Scions will be greedy. Yeah, so we're going to see an attack first. We have Snapcaster Mage coming in from Soren. And I think Abraham's just fine. I don't think Abraham needs to take an action right now. He's going to target a Dismember, cast it, paying 2 life.
Does Abraham have a Summer Denial in his graveyard?
I don't believe so. I didn't see all the cards that were put in there from his last slot scour. But we do see Tasker bite the dust to that Dismember. And the Royal Silence deployed while Soren is tapped out. A loot effect for the +1. And a discard of Fatal Bush. Royal Silence starting at 5 loyalty is pretty important because it would take 3 attacks from a Snapcaster Mage even if it wasn't ticking up every single turn. But for 3 mana, we see Swift End on the Royal Scions. But the thing is, that puts Soren down to 7.
Yeah, he might just die to, like, Lightning Bolt, Kolaghan's Command, Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Usually the Death Shadow decks don't play too many bolts, but, like...
Especially not in this matchup. I think they will have come out in this matchup.
Yeah. We know he's got a Snapcaster Mage in his hand, so he might... Abraham down to 6, notably. That's kind of the tricky part about playing Death Shadow, is you have to juggle your life total to make sure that you don't just die to a Snapcaster Mage in 4 attacks.
Yeah. Oh no, he is 8. I think there was a little bit of dispute, maybe a life total from last game, but it looks like Abraham is at 8. So we see a fetch from Abraham. We know Snapcaster's in hand.
Soren just eyeing that Fatal Push in his hand. So.
For basic swamps, just to preserve the life total a little bit. He's already low enough to where every Death Shadow is a huge threat. No, not a 1-turn clock, but...
Pretty close. And
yeah.
He could make it if he needed to be. He could play another land and fetch, or he could shoot. He could even bolt himself if he really wanted, whatever, but...
So you see Snapcaster in the grip, Death Shadow now being targeted by Fail Push. Snapcaster Mage is cast, and we'll see push on Soren's Snapcaster Mage. So in that exchange, Abraham is left with a Snapcaster Mage, but he's tapped out as we go to Soren's turn.
And Soren has a Drown in the Loch in his hand, it looks like.
And a Karn. So this may turn into a situation like last game where Abraham just wasn't able to stay on the battlefield. We see Karn play with Abraham few cards in hand, and then card advantage wins this game for Soren.
And this is going to be Mystic Sanctuary. I don't know. Oh, he does have 3 other islands, so it's going to be Mystic Sanctuary. Probably put like Fatal Push or Drown in the Loch, back on top. Does he not? Oh no, that's a Creeping Tar Pit. I thought that was a Watery Grave.
Well, it doesn't. Well, it looks like it didn't matter because he drew a Drown in the Loch. And is that an Archmage's Charm? That's the second card of his hand behind the Drown in the Loch?
It looks like it, yeah.
Okay. Karn has been cast, but Soren is unsure of what he wants to do with it.
This is probably still just like downtick find Wurmcoil Engine or something. Yeah. Wurmcoil Engine is just lights out against Abraham, basically. He's got like 2 cards that deal with it. Yeah. So
notably, only 5 lands, so Soren has to find the 6th land. Granted, with Archmage's Charm, that's not going to be a problem, but it may be a turn too slow.
Especially with these 2 Snapcaster Mages, and Soren at exactly 4, I believe.
Oh, and we have Snapcaster Thoughtseize to take that Wurmcoil Engine. And we do see Archmage's Charm Drown in the Loch. Land pass. Abraham empty-handed. Soren needs to find some way to at least put a blocker in the way.
Well, he can kill one of the...
Oh, no. Plague Engineer. Uh-oh. Well, you were right, Patrick. Plague Engineer did come in, and yep, it did exactly what we said. It killed Snapcaster Mages.
You know how many times I've lost to Plague Engineer named Human? Too many. Like 4 Noble Hierarchs and...
And now we see a tick down from Karn to find another card out of his sideboard. This may just be Mycosynth Lattice just to end the game. Nope, it is Hedron Archive. Well, that actually does it too, because animating that... Oh, wait, he doesn't have the mana to cast it?
Not currently. But that's... Yeah, it helps him dig. And they're... Yeah, both players are just kind of...
Maybe he's just setting up for Mycosynth Lattice and the turn after. And this is a fetch at the end of Soren's turn. He did not look that happy with that draw.
Looks like a thing in the ice for Soren, maybe.
Right. We'll see what production has to say, is that Abraham was nice enough to reveal it.
Oh, and this is... Yeah, get in with my Plague Engineer. Play my magic card. Murderous Rider. That's the one.
Yep.
Words.
Yep, that's a Murderous Rider. And we have a draw. Last turn he drew Fatal Push. Arguably a very bad draw with it in the case of these 3 mana threats. And I don't think that Abraham really has a way out of this. Nope. The handshake, and Soren is our 3-0 King of the Hill. Great job to Soren. I want to congratulate him on his deck building. And I want to say a big shout out to all of his opponents who have put up very, very great games for all of our viewing pleasure. Now, at the end of this round, we would like to take another quick minute to shout out our sponsor, Station ID.
Oh, that's just the not that.
No.
We actually do want to talk about our website, though. We sell all of all of our inventory is on our website at pairodice.games. We've got Magic singles, Destiny singles. I think there's Pokemon singles up there, sealed product, anything you could want. Die Hard dice. I'm pretty sure you can get just about anything that you could imagine. Also, just for people who aren't aware, Pairodice Games is a hobby store. We sell, obviously, Magic cards, like I said, Pokemon, all this fun stuff, board games. here in beautiful Bellingham, Washington. And we stream 3 times a week. That's Mondays with Modern, Thursdays for Pioneer, and Standard on Fridays. This Friday, however, we will not be streaming. Everybody's going to be down in Portland for the Magic Fest.
And if you're watching our live stream, check out the Pairodice Games VODs on YouTube under the username Pairodice Games. If you're watching this on YouTube, catch our live streams on twitch.tv Pairodice_games. If you want to support us, the best thing you do is shop for singles on our website at paradisegames.com. There you can put together a cart and pay through the TCG Player portal. We've now got 100% lifetime positive feedback with over 25,000 ratings, so we won't let you down. Pairodice Games is owned and operated by Brad McCarter, who has been one of the most honest people in Bellingham to play games with, and I'm honored to know him as my local shop owner and as my friend.
Yeah, Brad's a great guy.
Yeah. So now we'll sign out with more Hot Damn Scandal, and I want to thank all of you. You had a lot of ways to spend your time, but I'm thankful you spent it with us. Good night, guys.
See ya.